Hello, me lovelies. Well, got John here who has come in for a chat. We're going to be spilling the tea and saying what we think of other people and saying what we think of each other as well. There's going to be no holds barred, but in a nice way as well.
Hang on, man. I'm just trying to get my skirt off. You put on earlier.
Oh, you're scared?
Yeah.
You
I'm a
lovely.
proud Scotsman here, so I'm trying to get some underwear on now because I've got my skirt off.
Who thought that you were a little Tarzan? Showing your leg off. But yeah, so we should be having hopefully a couple of other people joining because we're going to be, well, I am going to be addressing this Japanese sparrow issue, which is just ridiculous at the moment. And so hopefully, but they might have to put the link through on the live stream. So just say hello to a few people. Hello, Mrs. O. Nice to see you back
Hello,
again.
everybody.
Gemma, Rob Olgoth.
Hello, Rob.
Mrs. Magpie. Oh, lovely little Mrs. Magpie.
I can't see the chat. I'm going to try and see the chat here so I can see it.
The Truth. Never heard of you before, but welcome. But yeah, so anyway, it's all been steadily going on, hasn't it? All this YouTube drama happening at the moment. And in my mind, you're starting to see people revealing the true natures, which is refreshing in a way. Are you Channel 5? Oh, hello, Maud. Hello, sweetheart. So I don't know what's happened to Humble. He's trying to get the chat up.
I was hoping that people, I was going to, because I asked you through somebody else a few months ago, and if you would remove a profile of one of my twins.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I believe one of those are in the chat right now that made the profiles of my children. And I'll say his name is Richard Lamb.
Oh, Richard.
Every time I mention his name, he threatens to get the police, right? So Richard Lamb was very supportive in the comments. Every single video. Say I made 30 videos. He was there, every single one.
Yeah.
Then a profile of my one of my twins appeared, one of my daughters.
Yeah.
This is before this one. This was another one that you removed. So I phoned somebody and I said, "What's the betting Richard Lamb does not comment in this video here I'm about to put out?" And he went, "Why?" I said, "Because I'm going to say I'm on to you." And sure as hell, I got a phone call about, well, it was the next day actually, saying, "You're right there." He commented on the one after you made, but it was the only one out of everyone that he never commented on. Now, Richard Lamb came to me via Paula Benny and True Media. Richard Lamb, when he first started speaking to me, he declared that he was asked to help in regards to helping Deka Heggie. And he said the only thing that he'd done, which could have put him in bad light, was help Deka with some paperwork. And I don't want, because at the end of the day, it was some paperwork. I don't want to say what kind of paperwork it was, but it was some paperwork. And I made him aware that what he was doing, if the Cyber Hub police in Glasgow or whatever was clicking into him, he's got to end up in jail. And he basically said that he was bailing out. And that was basically it. And then so I just kind of took him as I found him. No, I thought, well, somebody's been used. He's learnt from it. He's moving away from it. But then, you know, I knew when somebody was been sneaky. And I knew that somebody was just being too supportive, and I knew it wasn't genuine. So I basically pulled him up on that video. I made a video about it, and I asked him to unblock me in Messenger, and he wouldn't unblock me in Messenger. Why? I don't know. People would say guilt. Guilt would because if he was innocent, he would have unblocked me and he'd have went, "Listen, John, you've got me wrong, blah blah blah." Bear in mind that video called this boy when I first started speaking to him in November last year. He would have played his case and he'd have looked me in the eye and went, "You've got me wrong," but he never. He logged into Messenger once again and logged straight back out it. But obviously to check what I'd got out it. I was covering my tracks, and because at the end of the day, Paula Benny tried the same trick with me, removing things and then offering people to give their password and everything. Where if I've got nothing to hide, just put it all out there.
Yeah.
So when she gave like Maria Howard, her
Howard.
password and that to get in and check, Paula had already deleted messages. So when we'd noticed she'd done that, I just put a lot out because I thought, and I know that I shouldn't have pretended I was beating Donna up. I know I shouldn't have done that, but I gave her an inch and she took 10 mile at me.
Yeah, but this is it. No, as I said last time, John, I hate those recordings of Donna. And as was this to him, I said, I don't believe this one bit. I said, I'm sorry, Donna, I'm sorry, but your acting skills need improving. They do. It was too aiming for a reaction. And I could hear it in the voice. I thought, this is aiming for reaction, especially when it got into the darkness, people in the darkness. I thought, oh no, no, that's going way over board with that. So I said to Paul, I don't believe a word of it. And to truth, John, I don't think the impression I got from Paula was she didn't believe it was true as well. But as I've said to you, once you put something out there like that, people would run with it and you can't get it back. And then they'll turn around and if Donna denies it, oh, well, Donna's denying it because she's scared.
Well, see, the thing was, Anne, right, that what can you remember when that was this year? It was in about, April, May? No, I'm trying to think when I first went on Anne's. Anyway, but Paula had been trying to poison people since February, long before we'd even such a hint of a bad word between each other. And people were going into their face. One of her female friends, I'm not going to mention the girl's name, but one of her female friends had went into her Facebook because I'd asked her, why have you got Donna blocked on Facebook? And she went, I don't know Donna to block her on Facebook, John. And I went, you've got a block. So however, cut a long story short, she went into her Facebook and went, oh, I've got a lot of people blocked in my Facebook that I didn't realise I'd actually blocked because I've no reason to have them blocked. It turned out Paul had stayed with the girl for a weekend down in Newcastle. But before she'd stayed with her, she pretended that she'd went and met a boxer who I'm friendly with. And I knew that wasn't true. And you can put this to, because you know who she went and met, and without mentioning the guy's name.
I know,
yeah.
John, I have to jump in here, as I told you the other day. You know, when this was mentioned about this fella, I mean, not all that long ago, John, I'm telling you, he was friendly with her. So she had been going around saying that about him. He was quite happy with it because he was still friendly with her. I know he was. Yeah, so I have to say that.
We are talking about the boxer here.
Yeah, I know who you took. I know who you took.
No, you remember the boy with the autism thing?
Oh, yeah.
That's who she went and met. It wasn't Gary.
Yeah, I know that. I know she met him, but again, they're adults, it's up to them.
Yeah, right. So, but what I'm saying is, when she went and met that boy with the autism thing, it wasn't the boxer, but she made it out to her friends in Newcastle that it was the boxer she was away seeing.
All that I can say, John, I can say from what I perspective, and me and Paula used to have a laugh at the time. She certainly never made that claim to me. I swear down, she never did.
No, I know she never done it with you. I know that. It was one of her female friends in the northeast. And then you know how guess where I am, and she sent a picture of the gym, the same gym that the boxer trained in. It just so happened the other boy lived just round the corner from the gym. So she was playing a mind game with a female friend. Anyway, that's I don't want to get into that because that's the girl that I knew the girl through being a friend of another friend down the northeast, and I'd asked her why have you blocked Donna from your Facebook? She went, I've not blocked Donna, I don't know Donna to block her. And she went into her block list, and there was like a load of people that was blocked, and she had no explanation for it. She went, John, I don't know why these people are blocked. And then it turned out the this girl has got a 15-year-old son. The 15-year-old son had come through and said, Paula was trying to get a hold of you.
I know, but John, right, do you know this thing about this 15-year-old boy, right? If that's true and the police are, handling it.
No. But see, it's a different thing, Anne. So the 15-year-old that the Stig came out with, I don't know anything about that. I cannot comment on that whatsoever. Nothing of it. The 15-year-old I'm talking about was the mother. The boy come through and said to the mother, Paula's trying to get hold of you. And he went, how? She went, how do you, because she's texted me. And the mother says, oh, how's she got your number to text you? And that's so the thing about the Stig and that, but I don't know anything about that, and police being involved with the Stig.
Well,
I don't know anything about that. That's completely separate. I don't know anything about that whatsoever. All I knew was when there was a story about, I knew there was going to be a wee bit of truth in it because I knew of another story, but it was totally unrelated. And
all I can say about Paula is right. But I want to put it. I mean, all that I can say of my experience is that I found it, fun to be with. A lot of things that she's accused of putting around, she never said to me, let's put it that way. She never once made those statements to me. But what I put it in a video, so I won't go over it again, why sources decided not, made the decision to keep me distance from it. But now at this moment, with this Ellis fiasco, and especially that was the breaking point for me, the Tony Baker thing, she's just lost all credibility. Every word out of her mouth that she's be going on about defending this and, people doing this and people doing that, she's just ripped that up and put it right in the bin. And that's the only thing I can say about it. She's lost, in my mind, she's lost all credibility when she did that. Totally dished it.
There's a middle-aged guy in your chat, right, without saying any names, and she tried to cause grief between that man and his wife. And she said some proper, but you wouldn't say it if you knew somebody's missus was standing or possibly could be standing aside you, especially if nothing had ever happened. And I'm not going to mention his name, but he's older than me, and he thought, why would you even try that kind of? So what I thought, Anne, was she marking guys' cards? Because guys were easy. Sometimes if we're single and all the rest, it's easy to mark a guy's card. I'd say a guy's card's easier marked than a woman's cards.
What do you mean by marked?
Right. Well, I know a few guys that came short of kind of getting their cards marked. So they get a picture of a booby, and then they send a picture of a penis, and then within a few messages, you belong to that person because that wasn't her booby, but that is your penis. And that's what I mean by marking cards. There's a lot of guys on YouTube that's cards have been marked over the last couple of years that I'm learning about.
Well, more fool them for doing it. They shouldn't be doing it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I totally get that. And I wonder sometimes, like, where Apollo and that was putting videos out, I'm wondering if it was the same kind of people going about marking guys' cards. With Bob Smith and stuff like that. He shouldn't have done it. Yes, I agree with you. He should not have done that. But
well, Apollo, let's put it this way. I liked Apollo. I know a lot of people have trouble with it, but I did like Apollo. I mean, just something about him I liked. And the way he'd go on an issue. And this thing with Bob, revealing himself. I'm sorry, this is the fella that's going on about you have to follow Jesus and Jesus is Lord. And if you don't, you're going to go to hell. And he's the one.
He should have been wiser. He should have been wiser to that.
That's it. He's the one that's going to hell if the Bible's true because he's committed adultery. So, it's like,
is he
don't
married?
go doing that.
Is he married?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, I didn't know that.
And brags about all the babies he's had with other women. Christ, there must be some desperate women. That's
sorry,
all
I thought he was single. Single.
No, he's married because he said he took a break from his wife, and I said to him, "You can't take." Because I put a comment on this thing and said, "You can't take." I said, "If you're Christian, you can't take a break from your partner." I said, "You're married in the eyes, according to the Bible, you're married until you die." So when you die, that's when you divorce, more or less, or you separate from your partner, you're free of them. But yeah, so that's what I got from that. I mean, sometimes it got a bit, you know, could get a bit nasty, but Apollo wasn't doing anything other than he was, to me, he was balancing it, because there were people saying
I've
nasty
nothing
things.
against him. I just presumed that Bob Smith was a single guy who'd got his card smart with some bird that had sent it into Apollo to out. That's what I presumed. I thought a lot of guys, from what I hear, kind of fell for it.
Yeah, but he was just, as I say, he's vanished now, hasn't he? He's gone for some reason.
He's gone, yeah. But again, so where do we come? So we're back to Chris Hartley.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Hartley. My personal experience with Chris Hartley was I didn't trust him. My gut feeling said there was something no right. The first night he appeared in Bobby for the Honest Truth on the platform with Cookie, he said to Cookie, "You're being very quiet. You need to speak." And I remember thinking, Then he sat there smoking a joint, shouting his mouth off, but it all looked fake to me.
Yeah.
Everything that he done was fake. It stinked of fakeness, and I just didn't trust him for the word get-go. And he always said that he didn't know what way to take me. But the truth was, we knew he was doing something in the back of things for the likes of the man from Wales, from the hang on to get so I don't land you in trouble. The Breneston Beast from Wales.
Yeah, just let's say one
Yeah,
thing
just
about
call
that.
him the Breneston Beast, because
Well,
everybody
that's
can
it,
Google
but
that.
I want to make something clear here, right, John, right? If his mate is listening to this, that
Well, I know
likes
his
to
mates
help
are
him,
in this chat.
yeah,
I can spot them a mile away.
you know, but let's just finish this statement. If his mate's here who thinks that he's illegal, which he isn't, because every bleeding case is close, he hasn't got what he wanted, right, is making threats at me at the moment, veiled threats, you know, of the person you're talking about is going to take me to court. Bring it on. Bring it on, because I'd love
if you can't
to show
say his name out, I don't want you getting hit with a privacy strike, but I mean, good luck with
No, don't say his name, but we know what you're talking about. Let's
so
put
the
it this way.
Breneston Beast.
Yeah.
This is where me and True Media had a weird, and I'll say his name, David Somerville. He's living in Wigan now. He used to live up in Dumbarton. He was meant to get chased out of Scotland for a drug debt, right? There you go. I've got a picture of him, I'll show you in a minute. So David Somerville told me that the Breneston Beast would always have backing from his channel. I know the Breneston Beast was responsible for the step-down version of the Acro that he then pressed on to David Somerville for True Media, that it came through the Metropolitan Police. That was a top Acro. It wasn't. It was a step-down version of an Acro. The last message we left on Facebook 2 years ago was silence was golden. And the last video that the Breneston Beast left was silence is golden. Because I know he's been helping Deka Heggie for 3 years. And still is. So
well,
he gets me wound up.
It's what it is with this whole thing, you know, Chris Hartley and all that. I mean, I'll mention Jockney now because he's been very verbal, and he's saying, you know, he's an idiot. I don't know why I'm saying this to the audience. I'm not saying this to Jockney.
Jockney McQueen.
Oh God!
As a Margaret.
I don't believe that's his name, McQueen.
I think he was being. I know who it's Margaret.
Look, I believe when he said what his name. Look, I believe when he said what his name was, it was his name. I don't think what he'd go on. People make up all kinds of rumours, don't they? But
Bible John's love child. Jockney Sparrow nose is too narrow.
What I want to say is is that in this situation, he's asking me to. Oh, two people out there want a peace deal with me with Chris Hartley, right? To come to, I mean, I don't know. This is what gets me, John, right? Either that man is genuinely got something seriously wrong with his comprehension issues or not. But he seemed to be totally blissfully unaware of what Chris Hartley was doing. He was going round pretending to be me, caused no kinds of trouble. And this just shows you how when people start playing games, what can happen. It's who actually gets the backlash. I remember, I've said this before, he went, Jockney Sparrow, I fell out with Ronan, and Ronan was, of course, sucking round Jockney Sparrow, because at the time it was all hate against me in Jockney Sparrow's lives. And so Ronan went on there, and to cut long story short, Jockney Sparrow told him to take on the fake Andrew guy, who I later learned is Chris Hartley, onto his channel. Now get this. So Ronan's enjoying all this, thinking, oh, great stuff, I can get her Anne here by letting her know, or him know, whatever he wants to call me, that I've got this cyberbully, this stalker on my channel, and he'd be putting it up there. Well, of course, he was starting to get the hate speech in his comments, and starting to get this. I said at the time, I said, go on, carry on, because what's going to happen at the end of the day is the algorithm's going to start getting those words and grabbing them and recording them. And then suddenly you find that your channel isn't getting the views it used to get. And then one day, if nothing improves, you wake up and wow, your channel's gone, which is what happened to to The Honest Truth, Uncle Bobby. I didn't get his channel taken down, the algorithm did, and I knew it was going to by the words he was using to describe Deka. So that all happened, but you know what the irony is? It was Chris Hartley as the fake Anne that got me and Ronan arguing in the first place, because Ronan thought it was me saying to him, haven't you grown a pair yet? And Ronan turned around and replied, oh, mine aren't as big as yours, Anne, thinking that it was me. And that started off. So thanks to the person he took on as his moderator, we fell out. And thanks to that person that he took on, attracting hate to his channel, now his channel isn't getting the views that he used to get. And that's a lesson to learn. Once people play games like this, it can have repercussions.
You see, I must admit, I've held my hands up to it and I've apologised. I did fall into that hate speech along with them towards you, because you are an annoying bugger. You're very good at it, and I should have known better. I did fall into it, but I believe the Beast of Wales tried to recruit me and Donna. I more say Donna for her IQ, and he kind of made the approach because we had a bit of beef going on with you. However, we can always see by bullshit. And we could tell a man walking up the beach saying that he was a recovering alcoholic was lying. Because, like, when somebody really wants to change, they'll change. But a leopard, like his age, will never change its spots.
Oh, God, no way.
So, Chris Hartley, if anybody wants to see Stalking at a first degree, have a look at Ace Card Discharge. Ace Card Discharge. That is Chris Hartley. And the reason we know it is because I got him wound up on a couple of phone calls. And I done it because I wanted to hear his voice. And he gets the same little nervous man laugh about him. And the same, he can't control his vocal cords and his adrenaline through smoking too much dope and Valium. And it shakes like that because he's nervous and he doesn't know what he's got to do next. He's just a sad, lonely little boy. He thinks he's invincible, staying in a dress that's not trackable. As I say, we say hill. He might say hill. We call it a hull in Scotland. So you might be living in Hull, no hill. It doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, if you want to see Stalking at its first degree, do I believe that came from the Beast of Wales? No, I believe it might have came from Donna's ex-husband, whose name is Stephen Benbow. Stephen Benbow's brother was the best undercover policeman in the south of Wales. In the UK, okay? In one hand, we are sitting with Stephen Benbow's charge sheets. On the other hand, we are sitting with a spotlessly clean enhanced DBS check. Yeah, that clean, you can adopt a child with it. And if you don't want to tell me that's police corruption, what is it? On the charge sheet is taking and driving away, drunk driving, Class A, with intent to supply, Class A, like things you don't get away with. His fines are there, say in black and white. His court appearances there. The times are there.
John, I'm just going to jump in here because the truth has said something, and I heard someone else saying the same thing. It's hard to keep up with this life. It jumps from one thing to another. Now, I'm finding it hard. So what we're best doing...
vicious circle,
but what you do, instead of fitting everything in, you know, just keep to the subjects that are being spoken about. Because 1 minute we started off talking about
I'm bad
Chris
for that.
Hartley, and then woof, it went on, and I don't know who you're talking about now, or
It's
what
linked.
relevance it has.
Basically linked.
Or this or what relevance it has. So take your time. Wait a minute.
Can I just tell you something? In the run up to Deka's expose, when they kept putting it off for everybody, and everybody was getting agitated and angry and saying he was only clout chasing. In the run up to that, we had 3 visits from the police under malicious communications. The first one was that the children, I was battering the children. The second one was Donna was either lying unconscious or dead in the hall. And the third one was a domestic. Malicious communications. There's been over 4,000 hours of wasted police time.
So who are we talking about now, because I don't know who you're talking about.
So we're talking about coming up to Deka's expose, remember last year, and they kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, and they're saying the people behind it were dirty. So what happened?
No, wait a minute, John, you're doing it again. It's difficult to keep up.
There's a lot of news to take. I know that.
No, what I mean is, who is doing the malicious communications? Deka,
right? We believe that Darren G, Deka, Donna's ex-husband, and possibly Sean Atwood. Now I'm going to say possibly Sean Atwood because Darren G says every time he mentions the Humbles to Sean Atwood now, Sean doesn't want to talk about it. Why is that? Now, did Sean blame us for taking Darren G's channel down? Possibly, yes, because we've never, up until he mentioned our name, taken his channel down once. Not once.
Well, I'll just jump on here because you know my view of... I have a lot to say about Sean Atwood, and I did ask him if he wanted some time to come on and talk with you, but I've never replied from which I told you I wouldn't get a reply from him. But I'll say this about Sean. He, from my opinion of him, is he just wants to get on with doing his thing. And for him to go out of his way and start trolling someone or sending malicious communications or whatever, it's not worth his while, and it's just not his thing. And he's been accused of this in the past. And
I'm not saying it was him, man, but I did watch Sean recruiting people, and I mean recruiting people. Like, you could say, like, no, I'm not saying Ronan was recruited, but I seen Sean appearing in chats that Sean shouldn't have been appearing in. Yeah, it's simple as that. He was recruiting people to fight a battle for him.
I tell you what, no. I'm going to stick with this.
Trolls told us that, and
no, I don't look right. Just let me tell you this, right? One, Ronan approached Sean. I know that because I remember him doing it. You know the way Ronan gives out his shout outs like he did about Jan G. Oh, you're wonderful. I think you're great and all this. In other words, please, God, come on my channel so I'll get some views. That's what Ronan was doing. And so that's why Sean would have gone on there because of that. But don't forget, I was his worst nightmare at one point, his worst what you call threat to at one point during the Daddygate scandal and all that. Now, his followers got at me, but they vanished straight away when, for some reason, people lightened up that I was right in what I was saying. But I've never known him. It's just, you'd have to know him, speak to him and all that. He just doesn't create drama.
Well, until Anne, that he faces that and speaks to me, I'm not going to change my mind. Because the first time I phoned him, he said he was on his way to Bristol and he was busy and he would speak to me tomorrow. And tomorrow never came because he blocked me. And I wasn't rude to him on the phone. I just asked him to step back from something, and he never took that on board. Then he tried to kind of link me and James English together. I have spoken to James English on Messenger, but I've never spoken to him over the phone personally ever, not once. Like James English is a podcaster. James English is probably wishes he'd half of what I've got at home here. So I'm not being big headed saying that, but James English is good. I like him as a podcaster. But James has got nothing that he could offer me to make a deal with him to go after Sean Hartley. That's what I'm getting at. Darren G, I did think he was got to be a good spokesman and out in Deka. And I offered to sponsor him £1,000 at £350 a month, in which we gave him £350 a month. And he was paranoid about voice notes going out. Now, the £1,000 a month was to the Kinsella Trust. He was doing a Glasgow to London bike ride, and the £1,000 was towards his new bike. Now, I had hinted about Deka Heggie. And he had a lot of bad things to say about Brian Cockrell and that at the time. I didn't know Brian and Emma personally at the time. I'd never spoken to them. I wasn't really interested, to be honest. My main focus was Deka Heggie because I knew what was happening out there. Anyway, to cut a long story short, Darren edited about 30 voice notes, put out the worst ones, and then put them out there. He's never to put the full ones out. And we could have, but you know what? I think to myself, nah, because that was something you were paranoid of. And to be honest, I don't need to prove myself to nobody, Dan. You proved yourself to somebody. You were paranoid, and you went against something that you were so strongly against.
Let's talk something about here. I want to pick something up on here about this whole Darren G situation and all that's going on. And, you're wanting to get people to work, I don't know, work or what, do something. I don't know what you were wanting. But have you ever thought, and I've said to this before, John, your biggest problem is, and the biggest destruction of your campaign, or if you want to call it a campaign, is that you take on board people. You literally do a Jockney Sparrow. You take on board anyone who is going to talk about Deka or
you may think that.
But they're scumbags themselves.
If I wanted 1,000 people to talk about Deka, there'd be 2,000 people there tomorrow. You've no idea. My phone book has got maybe 11 people from YouTube and 3 year in it. My actual phone number. You've got my phone number, and you're one of that 11 people over 3 years.
But what I'm saying is, let's just pick one that's happened recently, which I was saying now and again, but I didn't force the issue. This dodgy Dave, right? He's just turned round and said, apologised, hasn't he, to Deka, said that Deka did not send obscene things to his daughter.
Yeah,
now,
I'm angry at that as well.
Angry. Do you know the damage he has done? Now, all that people would be saying is told you. It's all a pack of lies. And
I know. It's 3 steps forward, 4 steps back. I know that.
No, it's not 4 steps. Let me finish this, Humble, right? Are you still talking to that man and having nothing to do with him?
I'm talking to his missus now for the first time.
Never mind his missus. Him.
We are talking to his missus for the first time.
Why are you talking to his missus?
Because when he got taken into the hospital 4 or 5 nights ago, whenever it was, she was panicking.
I'd be more panicking that I had a bleeding partner who was going round using my daughter as ammunition. That's what he did. That's disgusting what he did. Yeah. That's horrendous. So
I agree.
And this is
I'm going to agree with you. Yeah, 100%. He lived to regret that probably.
Well, I don't think he will, because the impression I get of Dave and looking at his past, he hasn't got a conscience.
Listen, the daddy video, call me daddy video, right? Whether Dave lied about that or not, come on. We're talking about somebody that just called a fight off, who's still charging for that fight to be played live today. Yeah. Whether they people get their money back, I do not know. He's sitting on his mum's sofa watching the 6 o'clock news, pulling his pudding, Yeah, asking somebody to call them daddy. Come on.
But I'm going to play devil's advocate here, right? And I'm just going to do it to see what your response will be. How many men and women, when they're getting it together in the bedroom, play daddy games? Be honest, how many do? Because this is the whole point I pulled. Do you remember Wheezy? I remember Wheezy when he was talking to Callie Diamond. And no matter what you think of Callie Diamond, I've got a high opinion of it. It does look like she was when she was younger. She was violated as a young child. And what did Wheezy turn around and call it? This great campaigner, this great, oh, it's horrifying children, this happened to children. He turned around and went, oh, come on, baby girl. And immediately I jumped on that and said, you pave. I said, what are you calling a baby girl for a fully grown woman? And this is the thing about it. There's a difference, and there is between, and I'm not standing up for humble here, for humble, I'm not standing up for Deka here at all. But what I'm saying is there's a difference between playing games, fantasy games, and actually going out and thinking, oh, I want a child or a little girl. There's a big, big difference, because it's like they know that they're not with a child. They know they're with a fully grown adult. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm just being devil's advocate there, just to see, to balance it out. You there, John?
Yeah, but what you need to remember was a year before this, he'd admitted on the phone to his mum that he'd abused an 11-year-old child.
Oh, I know there was something. That's what I mean. I heard something. There's definitely, I mean, I've said it before.
Come on,
There's definitely some concern.
Right, it's not. When bearing in mind the 11-year-old, right? And I hate bringing this up, but I think everybody needs to take this in, right? It wasn't a one-night stand he had with the mother. The allegations was over a year, 1 year. Yeah, and I know of a child and bubble bath and a bath with him. Yeah, and I can't say anything happened because the person doesn't know if anything happened. But I know the child was ejected out the bath because the child shouldn't have been in a bath with him. There's so much we know that we can't speak about, because at the end of the day, I asked everybody to read between the lines for day one, and holding confidentiality at its highest. Because at the end of the day, we're not talking about something, a game out on the internet anymore. We're talking about something that's dangerous. It's going to end up being a role model.
Yeah. Do you know, I've seen Emma Cockrell. I don't understand why True Media's name and address keeps getting thrown about. Well, what it is, I tell you now, True Media was trying to, Emma, to give you this bounce on this one. He was trying to dox me. So, and actually with Chris Hartley, stalked me, came to my house.
Yeah, True Media knows.
Creepy.
The only thing I'm going to thank True Media for right now is when Paula put the allegation of me beating Donna up. True Media said he drew his own conclusion to that, and it never happened. Right? So that's what I can thank him for, because when he told me that the Beast of Wales was always going to have his backing, well, then I lost every single bit of faith I ever had in David. I lost every bit of faith in him, because at the end of the day, I know how that man in Wales can manipulate somebody, and I believe he recruits people like he tried to do with Ashley Douglas. Let's speak about Richard Lamb. Bearing in mind, Richard Lamb came to me through True Media. Okay.
Just let's say one thing about this Richard Lamb. All that I know about him, Richard Lamb was with the Weasley Sisters. I remember.
Yeah, see, I'm more loyal than I should be.
I blocked him a while ago because he was pretty nasty in his comments. So that's what I know about Richard Lamb. So because I blocked him, I wouldn't have anything to do with him.
You've got the people using his son or his grandson to make videos, right? I mean, that's the depth you will go to. So Richard Lamb, see, it's trying to control because I'm loyal when I shouldn't even be loyal to them. He admitted to me that helping Deka with paperwork. Now Richard Lamb went on to Ashley Douglas's live one night. Ashley Douglas needed money for a hotel.
Yeah.
Richard Lamb put over £100 into Ashley because the girl who had set up the GoFundMe told us it was over £100. The following day, Ashley Douglas started coming out with the lies about Donna and started pushing a picture out with somebody with a black eye, saying that it was Donna. Now that was down to Richard Lamb. Then the man from Wales told people to reach out to Ashley Douglas, tell him to take tent, but he'd no room for him if anybody had room for him. Now, if you want to search up Oakley and Fife, Richard Lamb, look who stayed at that postcode. There's also an Ashley Douglas stayed at the exact same postcode. Whether I know he stayed there or not, I don't know. Maybe he stole his identity, I do not know. But all I know is there's an Ashley Douglas stayed at the same address in Oakley. Richard Lamb used to stay in Saline. Right? Now, Chris Hartley came at me and said, why did you say Richard Lamb's mum had died black? Yeah. She's really unwell. Because Richard Lamb is yet to tell me to this date that was his stepmom that died in that house fire. Right? Well, I just asked him the question, did you kill your mum? Did you set that fire? Did you set fire to that house accidental to kill your mum? I didn't know.
Oh, wait. But what I'm saying is, right, I don't know
if you want to get low me, I'll get lower. Simple.
But
bearing in mind, I've got good evidence that he made profiles of my kids saying that I killed somebody through heroin and transformed into Irish Gaelic. Yeah. So you put it into Google search, blah blah blah. Things that I've not mentioned until tonight.
Oh,
sorry, come here a bit closer. Sorry,
don't say that.
Sorry, don't.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Said you had mutilated somebody's genitals, and the criminologist.
Oh, don't it? Right, cut that off. Cut it off.
Okay.
Because
you're
going to get me in trouble.
Just call him the Beast of Wales.
Now you've identified who we're talking about. Great.
So yeah, basically, it said I'd mutilated somebody's genitals. That's what we're dealing with here. Because when I stopped getting in and knew, it didn't suit his narrative to say we were handy not going on with you. We also knew who the middle person was, and that'd be Paula Benny. And when Paula Benny wasn't getting in, True Media was getting in. Now, bearing in mind, True Media's been in every single camp. He's been in mine. He's been in Danny's. He's been everywhere.
Well, Emma's asked, I don't know who Richard Lamb is or
ask True Media.
Well, the thing about Richard Lamb, as I've just said, and all that I know of him, I had to ban him because he was in with a load of what I claim neo-Nazis. In other words, they were coming out with horrendous things. And Chris Hartley, you should know who he was because you used to be on a panel with him who was
you were on a panel with him.
Wait a minute.
If you go into the new
John, will you stop jumping in and let me finish the sentence? You keep on jumping in, just let me, because that's why people. This is why people don't. I'm going to mute you if you carry on jumping in, right? Because this is why people get confused because you're jumping in mid-sentence on me all the time. So anyway, Emma, just to say, right, Chris Hartley, you were on the honest truth. Remember Uncle Bobby, the biggest fraud out there. Now, Chris Hartley was there. Now when you joined, you missed what I had to put up with Chris Hartley, which was horrendous abuse. I had to put up with him. He was stalking me. He was jeering me, dog dying. The day after it died, and this went on for days and days. And Uncle Bobby going on that I'm bitter. I think I've got a right to be bitter with Uncle Bobby for allowing that to happen. But anyway, Chris Hartley's gone on to put out fake accounts of me, did this for ages, stalked me. And also, what he's gone and done is we found out he was stalking women online. And one of them had to get, well, two of them had to get offline, didn't they? They were that upset. But you should know, and this is what I'm saying, Emma, check before you go on these panels who you're with. Because I was sitting there thinking, because I like you, Emma, and I'm thinking, does Emma know that she's in with a load of bleeding vipers here? Horrible things. But that's an explanation of who they are anyway. So go on, John. I told you off now.
Well, again, when I spoke to Brian a couple of weeks ago, I could have told him things, but I didn't want to, because it's hard. It's hard to say, listen, at the end of the day, people suck information out of you. And everybody knows if I wanted to cause World War III on YouTube, believe me, in 3 years, I'm talking to everybody I could. The secrets we hold and will take to the grave, that's who we are. The recording with Starshine, when we put out there, bear in mind, she wanted to take Brian Cockrell's medical records. She wanted to edit them. And then she changed that story to edit anybody's medical records. Think about that for a second.
I know, she's disgusting.
Imagine you're allergic to penicillin and somebody removes that from your medical records. Imagine you went in there for a blood test and somebody said you were HIV positive. Think about that for a minute.
Oh, I know and I said this. I was saying about it, I didn't like it. I could just sense there was something about it I didn't like.
But what people don't realise, Anne, you've got Starshine talking to an author's wife, yeah, and talking to somebody that's behind Paddy Conroy and somebody that backs Paddy Conroy, i.e. True Media. They're all linked. Nobody gets it. It's like I need to draw a bloody tree and write their wee names in the branches. It's like the idiot view to who's who on YouTube.
Just like Kelsey's just made a statement here. How can this by Emma check? It's impossible to know everything that someone said before when you find yourself on a panel with them. I understand that, Kelsey, and that's what I said. Emma didn't check, but the thing is, if you look at when Emma and Brian and others were on there, it was pretty toxic what was being said on there. So,
information.
I wouldn't go
I've
on
got a lot
panel.
of time for Bobby now because I do believe Bobby's went his separate way. I do believe Bobby is his own person now, and I know you don't believe that, but that's where I am. I have to trust. I have to keep on trusting people because if I don't, you go mad. Donna doesn't trust anybody. I like to trust people.
The thing is, right, and this is what I'll just say, right, because he's made a video, which is aimed at me.
I mean, listen, I'm sorry to interrupt. There's Channel 5 and Venom and that. Why don't you jump on the panel? You've got a lot to say in the chat. Please jump on here and talk to me. Talk to me because you've got a lot to say in the Channel 5, Venom. Channel 5 appeared when I started mentioning Guess Who. Guess Who? When did Channel 5 appear? When did Acro appear? The channel Acro. When I outed Richard Lamb. That's when the channels appeared. Richard Lamb, Chris Hartley. I could actually pinpoint them in a set of darts, but what they do is every now and again they swap channels with people. And who told me that? True Media. That's the thing is off, right? So the grammar changes. The way things are edited changes.
Oh, do you know what I forgot to say? Right, get this. What that Chris Hartley did once. Before I twigged that it was him behind the fake accounts, he started trying to make out he was Scottish. He'd be typing out all the, abuse about putting. Another way in Scotland, you'd have the habit of using your own words in amongst the English words, and he was doing all that. I thought, oh, that's nice. Try to blame the Scots.
I'd love you to invite them on here right now, and even you might leave me with them.
I'll tell you why I won't talk to Chris Hartley. Why I won't have anything to do with him whatsoever, is because I've handed over. I did this a while ago. I handed it all over to the police. What he'd been saying, what he'd been doing. Once he admitted on in Lindsay Kilpatrick's live chat, he admitted and showed up he'd actually had been stalking me. I got right onto the police so they can record it and recording it and recording it. So I won't have them on here talking to me, and I won't go into any debate with them.
Right, and
because if at any point,
we
wait
had
a minute,
a couple.
if I went into a conversation with them or was inviting them on, if there was any chance of getting him taken to trial over this and prosecuted over what he's been doing to me and other people, that could damage it. So that's why I would never have him on mine. He can go on yours if he wants to, but you know, who knows? I mean,
we had a couple staying here for the weekend. We wined and dined them, where we took them out for a meal and all the rest of it. I cannot prove right now that the £700 odd that tried to get swiped from Donna's bank card on the Wednesday night after it, I can't prove that. But what I can prove was a white Egyptian cotton towel stolen that Donna had laid on the bed with chocolates shaped in a swan. Our CCTV shows a white Egyptian towel up somebody's back with a hood over their jacket. Now I can play that right now. Yeah, I'm going to give a channel about 10 seconds to disappear. I'm going to play it right now.
And this is who you want to disappear? Channel 5 or?
I'm going to see who disappears, because trust me, they cannot push me. At the end of the day, when somebody walks out with a jacket over their head, yeah, and their arms no through the sleeve, and you think they're bloody pregnant at their back with a bloody towel, a white Egyptian cotton towel, yeah. I'll ken what, you know what I'm going to do? See, when I go for this live, I'm going to put it all out. Every bit of my CCTV, I'm going to put it out there. They're Carl a lot. Bloody angry. I'm bloody angry, yeah.
When you're nice to someone, you've got a right to be angry.
Listen, at the end of the day, I had faith in somebody, right? And then when you realise you've been sucking the life out of people and can try to get close with people, and I'll never forget the words. When people, now bear in mind, he was turning and wheezy and everybody, right? And I asked him if Sean Atwood could be trusted, and he went, yes, I knew it was coming for Darren, the Beast of Wales. I knew it was coming for that corner. Now, there's links to Somerville and Conroy and everything, and Grandpas and murders. At the end of the day, we're sitting in the CCTV will show you somebody's got something up their back, yeah? They stayed here for a night. And then the Wednesday night, Donna got a phone call. I got a message said to phone such and such. I never bothered, I was busy. It was about 7:30. Donna got a phone call. She was talking on the phone and she kept getting emails from the bank. It was text messages to approve of £700 odd worth from the fraud team.
Yeah.
I can't prove that, right? But I can prove the bloody towel.
Well,
and I can ask for a rackle, and I can ask for a rackle for a reason, because it will show you they have no room to point anything.
Just let's say something here, right? Do you remember when I was having that argument with True Media? I agree with you at 100%. Two-faced. 1 minute he's back there calling someone, then he's the best friends with them and all this. Well, I remember I said, why don't you get your acro out? This was when it was trendy to ask everyone for acro. So I said, get your acro out. And he said, yeah, I will do. Right. Then within a couple of minutes, I don't have to. Why do I have to show you my acro? And I thought, that's because his acro is going to be full of it. And another one who...
I even offered to give my acro to one of them.
Well,
I was even going to edit it to cover the tracks. There you go. That's how good a person I am.
Another one as well, right, who does it is Chris Hartley. Ask him, produce your acro. And suddenly he goes very quiet for some reason. He doesn't disappear and act, or I think that's why he's doing it. But
maybe we should ask Venom if I should just put the video out a couple leaving the house then tonight. Yes or no, Venom?
Well, Venom is always on my life. No? But Venom is always on my life.
Yes or no?
John. But John, just let's say something right. Remember, there's always on my lives, and he's never caused, or she has never caused anything. Doesn't go on about you. Are you sure you're right? You might be wrong, you know.
Could be. I'll just tag them all in it. I'll get one of them.
But do you remember you thought I was Stacey?
No, I never said you were Stacey. I said you were connected to Stacey in some way.
Oh.
Do you know who's got links to Stacey though? Mama T Belly.
Who?
A woman called Deborah Stark. Sam Woolley and Susie Woolley, but they call her Uncle Susie because she's got hands like a man. They all come from Dumbarton. The same bit as where motorsports buggies come from. Clydebank, Dumbarton. Same bit.
I don't know. But
you remember the boy who was dressed like Jesus that went to motorsports store with a knife? He first appeared in Darren G's chat. James Charles.
Oh yeah,
Gilchrist.
I remember that.
You remember?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, him.
He was right. He was a strange one, him, wasn't he?
I was.
But yeah, and
Julianne Barnes first appeared in James. Sorry,
I'm
no
gonna
James.
clear that.
It was Darren G. Julianne Barnes is the same name as Deka Heggie's ex-manager, George Arthur Guest. That's his girl. She worked at Denton Memorials. She was stealing information. I'm not stealing, but if you went to a private meeting to get your children back, and a kind of social work meeting or whatever kind of group thing, she was taking information from that of a girl from Carlisle and putting it all over Facebook.
But do you know where all this that's going on, right? With all the commotion that's happening over this, I say, campaign. What's happened is it starts out being about Deka, doesn't it? And then it suddenly created this huge.
Well, David for True Media was the first person to ever say to me, right, I know I'm not saying Deka Heggie is lying, but the ones who are pointing at him have no room to point at him. And I thought, well, you can't point at anybody.
I don't get what you mean by that.
Well, he basically said he was going after people that doubted Deka Heggie. He said, I'm not saying Deka Heggie's lying, John. All I'm saying is, they've no room to talk. And I went, but you've no room to talk. I was going to give you my bloody acro to cover your tracks.
But
then you've also got Jamie Boyle, who was meant to him and Shirley behind the Dartbot Secrets. I'm not going to miss them out either.
I know.
Jamie Boyle was the first person who was
right.
got to put my phone number out to Deka Heggie.
How do you know it?
Because I've got a recording of him saying it and a video called him. And I was in a video call with Jamie Boyle. I reached out to him and he then sent me a message. I lost service, so I was driving down where the windmills are. And he sent me a message saying, you ginger-headed old bee, I'm going to do my best exposing you with Deka Heggie.
Well,
and he's pals with Starshine, also known as Mel Evans, also known as Scott Fletcher's brother, presumed missing.
But it's
a big vicious circle. I'm not going to miss anybody.
Yeah, just let me say
anybody out.
Just let me say one thing, right? Jamie is in a recovery program.
But Jamie Boyle's called that. Jamie Boyle's called Brian Alaya for 2 years.
Yeah, but just let me say.
When he's in recovery, he's still pushing
humble. When you stop, John, when you stop doing this, you're making it so confusing for people. When you keep on jumping in, you've got to get the.
I'm not like for a reason because I've no loyalty to any of them.
No, what you're doing is you're hacking in there, and no one can follow your thread because I'm trying to say something, and suddenly you jump in. They don't know what I've said. They don't know what the hell you're saying. And end up, you don't get any message across, so it's a waste of time. But what I'm saying is, Jamie at the moment is in a recovery program, right? He's trying to get control of his demons. I think you best let him get through that first. You know what I'm saying?
we could say that, but everybody on the line and not an operation table, and then somebody coming on for 2 years saying that the man's operation took 5 minutes, and we could play that game. I know
Well, wasn't
Jamie
it
Boyle,
Starshine?
I know Jamie and Shirley is not innocent in all this. I know the links to Scotland. I know the links to Paula Benny. I know the links to True Media through Paula Benny. At the end of the day, it's a vicious circle, Anne.
Well, let's just put it this way. Jamie likes people.
I was saving the best to last.
Jamie likes people I don't like, right? And I like people, I'm sure.
Jamie Boyle's still enabling Deka Hagee.
Will you just shut up and stop interrupting me? Right. I like Jamie from my personal point of view. He's never done it to me. If there's things that he's done, yeah, he should be condemned for it. And I have heard things. But what I'm saying is, I'm sure he doesn't like it. There's people who follow you, John, and there's people who you
people really clicked on on.
There's people. There's
we're
people.
We're all clicked on here.
I'm sorry, John. I'm going to have to mute him. I'm sorry, but this is ridiculous. I can't get a full sentence out without him jumping in. Right. What I was going to say is, you like people that I can't stand that have done horrendous things to me, but that's life, John.
Yeah, that's the way it goes round. As I say, I'm going to say the same for people you like. But
hey, well, let's start naming people because I think that's helpful. If we say who we don't like, that the other person likes.
Right. Well, I do not like Chris Hartley. I do not like the Beast of Wales. I do not like Jamie Boyle. I don't like Shirley because they've both lied about me. Yeah, and I don't like True Media because he's been in there with Paula sharing the information. And he's backing the Beast of Wales. They're sucking information out of everybody. Well, and it's about time I just drew the tree with the branches with the names on, and everybody can work it out for themselves. I think we should just do it tonight. Because my dinner's ready, my Yorkshire puddings are looking lovely.
But now let's just say this, get this out the way, right? Where is this all ending up? Because I said to you a while ago, and I was sincere when I said it, you looked really drained and ill. And
yeah, I went to doctors for the first time in 10 years, and I come out with steroids, an inhaler, and x-rays. But it was all good.
But where is this going, John? Because
it's going to a documentary, Anne. And people will be getting on and off that bus, and the people at the end will be the people at the end, and everybody will have their story to tell. That's where it's going, because I said we were approached, and I'm not lying about that. And it was a bit of people put their personal lives into it, and bear in mind, if I'd done, I've been called a police informer. Some people don't know the difference between an active threat to life and a police informer. We also got up with 138 pages of evidence, which is a bit
That proves there was a grass in the mist.
Right, which proves there's a grass in the mist, which ties into the clean enhanced DBS. It proves police corruption.
Be careful what you say.
I know. I'm thinking.
But just let's put it this way, right?
It's a sad story, but at the end of the day, people have got themselves involved in it. And
but we're straying away again. You're doing it again. You're straying away from the question I asked, right?
That's how the police have a difficult time with me, Anne, because I'm no easy.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I'm going to be, because this is now going to be like toothache, and that's been for a while. Do you remember? We won't go into details. Remember, we had the last real blow up we had where you were fuming because of something I said, right?
Yeah.
And it was really furious.
About my ex-business partner being the mother of my kids.
Yeah. Well, what I did, right, was I realised when you were going on, I thought, wait a minute, this is where I didn't mean it. I just was being a smart ass, you know. But I thought this has really got you intensely triggered this. But let me finish.
Man.
John,
I have nothing to hide.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, is it worth, which I said to you, is it worth your health? And that's why I'm still talking to you, because
Totally.
if I
Yes.
didn't think that you were passionate about it and it was passion making you talk, there's a difference between someone like
don't,
Chris
don't think
Hartley.
anybody understands when I said I'll die before
Well,
I give
this is
this
the
up.
problem. This is the problem,
Yeah, do
John.
you hear anybody else saying that? No.
But the thing is, right, what
Mhm.
is, I've been through it. I told you this. I've been through it. I nearly lost my life. I lost everything when I challenged the Mayside police. I lost everything. And I had to come to the realization, John, which lots of people do, is if I end up having a heart attack, which I'd had 2 heart attacks during that time, if I have another heart attack and it proves fatal, what have I done? What have I proved? Will people remember what I said? No, they won't. I'll be forgotten in 5
The right people,
minutes
the right
flat.
people would remember.
But what I'm saying is, it's yesterday's news, and that's what happens. But you can do a campaign, but what I fear that you're doing, and that's why I was asking you about people that you.
People need to stop enabling, and that's what they need to stop doing.
But
Everybody's
the thing
doing it now just for the wrong reason. But
yeah,
is that
no, don't.
somebody
I'm
that be
stopping
there?
you now. I'm
If
stopping you
somebody
because you.
gets killed,
No,
if
no, no, no,
somebody
no.
gets,
John,
if
keep
some
it
girl
on
gets
yourself.
killed through this, yeah,
Right.
but
Just
I will drain the life out of every last
wait.
one of
Look, listen. You're doing it again. You're focusing on other people, talking about you, not what you're going to do to other people.
I don't matter. I'm just somebody.
No,
I'm
you
just
do
about
matter.
matter.
Just listen to me. You do matter because 1, you've got a partner there. 2, you've got children to think of. Say that you suddenly did what I did and take a heart attack, but you're not as lucky as I was and recover from it. What's Johnny going to do? Do you think she's going to fight this on? Be able
And
to
I've woke up now operating tables and pulled the wires off me so many times I can't remember. Yeah, it's irrelevant.
don't tempt fate.
We're only in this life once, yeah,
Yeah,
and it's what you do in it that matters. That's the only thing that matters. If though you can battle with something that doesn't matter.
I'm not challenging you, and I'm not telling you to give up
I know
what
you're
you
not.
do.
I know you're not.
I'm not. But what I'm saying is there's a way to do it, John, and there's a way not to do it. And sometimes the way we act, and I've done this myself, I think everyone can understand what I'm going to say. If ever you've had someone that you feel is a danger, you need to warn others about, you actually approach it in a way that is counterproductive. It makes you look bad.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I like that though. I like to be different.
But it's not being different. You destroy your own campaign at times by doing that. And that's why I stepped away until I understood where you were coming from. But it took me time to understand where you were coming from.
Because if we are all responsible for the next road moat, yeah, we're all responsible for that. There's no getting away from that. And I would just like to think if that happens, well, I tried. We tried.
Is it worth it though, John?
But I don't know what is worth it. What's worth it nowadays?
But I don't know.
Is it worth it begging down to everybody else and just saying agree to disagree and let somebody carry on? No, it's no in my books. I was brought up.
No, I know what you mean by that, but I usually find, and this is what I found from when I was, campaigning about what I learned at the police and trying to get it known, and that then suddenly this VIPs in Parliament, we were doing things. The children suddenly exploded, and everything went wild. And I remember watching it, and I said, "This is all going to end up going right down. It's going to implode, and people are going to be destroyed in the process."
And I buzz off it. See the people that think they're affecting us. I actually buzz off it. That's adrenaline for me. That's like going 150 miles an hour in a car. I love it. I got a buzz off it. A buzz off it, and other people get it. They get it mentally. I don't have buzz off it. I love it.
Anyway, let's change the subject.
I might be wrong, but I love it.
Well, I'm not going to get anywhere with you on that, I know. So let's change the subject.
Never.
Let's talk about, and I should say, you're responsible for your own life. We're all responsible for it, so you can't tell other people what to do or change. So anyway, your house, right? Your nice house, which has been getting filmed for some reason.
It's maybe somebody saying Amanda in the background. It's maybe Mandy. It's maybe Amanda. It's maybe Amanda Stoll. What you got next? What you got to bring next? Nothing. Because you're just got to be a two-faced little yellow coward in
Who are you
the
talking
comments
about now?
forever.
What are you talking about now?
I love it.
In the back.
I'm looking at the comments and
I
I'm
get
just
what
reading
you're
the
talking
comments. They're only ever going to be little yellow people
That's nice. I'm
whose
asking you a
kidneys are
question.
going yellow through cowardness.
Can I just
I love
say
it.
to you people, can I just say, did you hear that? I'm just reading the comments because I'm that boring as the host. I am that boring as
And
the
I'm
host.
loving the amount of trolls I've brought in here tonight. I buzz off
Tell
that.
them that Amanda Starr is my equity name. Look
Yeah.
up on equity.
And see the Pinterest accounts you've been chasing for a year. We made that up, and you've been sharing. You've been Flickr, sorry. You've been sharing pictures from Flickr that we made up a year ago.
Anyway, I'll ask what I want to ask.
Sorry,
right?
Anne. Sorry, Anne. I like to bust a bubble.
Your house, right? Your house. Your house.
Yeah,
right.
what about my
Was
house?
that?
You want
Was
to buy
that?
it?
Part, do you know? Oh, God, I haven't got any money. That's and I'll mention that in a minute. With the way you make donations to people who've got loads of money, you never make donations to me, and yet I get accused of being paid. Right?
I'll buy a coffee,
But
Anne. I promise.
But here we are. That archway, you were standing last night by a stone
That's the
archway.
church.
I was going to say, is that your house? Because if that was your house, my
the
God.
church is about 150 steps from the house, and it was pissing the rain, excuse the French.
Beautiful, isn't it?
And yeah, so there was an orb. Did you see the orb? No, I believe in ghosts. I walk around the church every night. There was an orb.
I believe in ghosts. But it's a nice house you've got. But that's a lovely house you've got, isn't it?
It's over 100 years old, and when it rains from a north west direction roof, but
your mic's gone all. You gone all tinny, John. I don't know what's happened. Are you still there, John? Because your mic's gone all screeching tinny. Oh, I don't know what's happened, people. Hopefully he'll be back. We'll wait. Just catch up on the... Somebody I was going to have some guests on, but I haven't. I'll have to do an open live sometime. John, I think you need to sign out and sign back in by the looks of it. Just looking at the comments. I'm waiting for John to come back. Don't know what's going on. Are you there, John? Hope he hasn't fallen off his chair. Do you remember when he did that on Exposure TV? He fell out of his chair. No, he's got the link. Oh, thank you, Emma. Oh, what? Unless he's having his din-dins. Didn't he say his dinner was ready? I don't know whether that's the end of it. I'm not sure. Let's see if he's got in touch with me on Twitter. Oh, here we are. I didn't know that I thought you'd gone for your din-dins.
Give me 2 seconds to turn this down because we'll echo 2 minutes. 2 minutes. So I can turn the bloody volume.
I didn't know that you thought you'd get YouTube off your phone or computer, whatever you're on. Hate when I hear my voice back. And no one likes their own voice, do they?
That better.
Yeah, that's much better.
I was trying to get everything off there. Sorry. When the microwave goes on at the other end of the house, it pulls the signal.
Here we are. Here's a good question, right? I actually asked half of this. And please ask John why Dave and Motorsports to get a pass. Now, I did ask you about Dave, and you've explained that, haven't you? Though I don't agree, I think he should just keep well away from that fella. Bad vibes, 100%. I think he's disgusting what he's doing. But anyway,
I can't bring people to my house and people steal from me. Yeah, that's I can't have that.
what do you mean? What was it? That wasn't even related to Dave, was it?
Sorry, Anne.
You've just given a reply there that makes no sense at all.
Somebody said David.
As in,
Sorry.
I think they mean Dave. Dave, what's his name? Dodgy Dave.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Oops,
that's
too
what I was
many
going to
Daves.
say.
Dodgy Dave. Right. I don't know Dodgy Dave personally. I've never met him.
Well, get rid of him.
All I
Bad
can
news.
say is what he's done, I don't approve of. Saying about that beat his daughter, I don't approve of it. But sometimes I think I give him a pass because I think he's trying too hard to make up things he's done in the past.
I think what it is, wasn't he late in the day suddenly waking up to these things about Deka? Very late in the day, wasn't he? He just, after everyone else was saying it, he suddenly woke up, didn't he? And suddenly realised he didn't like Deka once the tide had turned.
No. What happened was Deka employed him.
I know.
Deka employed him to come after us.
Yeah,
and
but what? Are you sure he's telling the truth?
Yeah, no, that's well. Deka's already declared that. No, he's already, because he asked Dave to fit the CCTV to his house. Dave run him about the country, and I mean run him about the country, and they came to fisticuffs in a car park one night, and Deka said, "I'm following the artistic guy," meaning, oh God, what's Tate, the boy Tate.
Yeah.
He said, Deka said, I'm following the artistic guy, meaning Axel. I believe Axel's still working for him yet. We've got strong things that Axel's still helping Deka.
But don't you think it's creepy, which I do, creeps me way.
Did you know that Axel works for, he edits for Babe Station, and he's friends with Alex Reid?
No, it didn't. Anyway, finishing what I'm saying, right? Because you just jumped in yet again.
Sorry.
Diplomacy, John. Before you start a campaign, you've got to have diplomacy. And as Judge Judy says, God gave you the ears for a reason and gave you your mouth. You keep your mouth shut when the ears are supposed to be listening. So anyway, don't you think it's rather creepy, which I do, that a father comes on with all those masks on when we know what he looks like? All those ballies or whatever to go on, balaclava things he wears.
Yeah.
That's well blatant creepy, that.
I think...
and we know what he looks like.
I think personally they get more respect. You still there, Ron?
Yeah, I'm there.
Sorry, somebody tried to phone me there. I think personally, they get more respect keeping the mask on. Personally, yeah.
That's well creepy, that. And well, I know you won't want to speak about motorsports, and I've said what I think of motorsports.
No, so ask me a question.
Well, I don't like motorsports for one reason. I think this campaign he's going on about that he's suddenly a predator hunter, and now he's talking about mental health and all this. It's all cack in my mind, and that's the only word I can use for it, because he's. Did you know that me and Motorsports were at loggerheads because he was defending Deka at one point? No. There you go.
But
I know, but I won't go on too much about motorsports because he's starting accusing me of mocking his mental health. As I've said before,
all I'm going to say was when Tony Burkett and that threatened to come to my house, the guy put about 10 bodies in my house and round about it, and I never even asked for it. So that gives me full respect. Yeah, and they weren't there to play chess.
And let's say something else right here about him, right? That he doesn't need any money. He's flushed as they come. What are you doing buying him coffees when you wouldn't believe give me anything? This is it. This is nothing, right? I keep on getting told people that I'm in John's employ. He's paying me, and he still hasn't paid up. I used to get that about Sean Atwood. I used to threaten to sue Sean Atwood, saying, "Suing you. You haven't given me my wages this month."
I'll buy you a
But
coffee. Promise.
I a £25 one.
All right.
When you paid that, yeah, I've been looking. You see, motorsports.
I can feel me getting bumped here. First, she's got a skirt on me. Now it's a £25 coffee.
Yeah. Well, motorsports got a £25 coffee off you. Oh, I know. How did I know that? How did I know that? Because he's got his little buy me a coffee, hasn't he, up there? That scrounger. He just
Yeah,
needs
well,
it.
we've actually raised it. I think it's £40 or something through Buy Me a Coffee thing, but I think Donna's got some women's charity. Women's, I don't know. I don't want to get it wrong. I'm sugar with names.
But anyway,
some women's refuge thing or something, yeah.
Who's doing a women's refuge thing?
That's where the money raised for our Buy Me a Coffee in this channel is going to a women's refuge or women's aid. I don't know. And don't ask me because I'll get it wrong.
Well, just let's say something, right? Know about the women's refuge, but because we're talking now about people, I like that you have issues with, and I'm talking about people you would like that I have issues with. Let's talk about another person seeing you talking about women's refuge. TV, yeah, right. You know what?
You sound like Deka there. Come on, try better than that. Come on.
Anyway, right, you know.
He's getting teeth from Wish out there. Come on.
Aspo exposure, right?
Yeah.
Now, did you know? I've never mentioned this before. I was doing a live with Steve Wraith. Well, not like we're doing that news program thing. At one point, we started talking about women being GRAPD and women, you know what I'm talking about, violated by men. And we were talking about that. And little Scorsese turned round and put in the chat, which I was horrified by. Oh, I like dominating women. Lol. When we were talking about women.
I'm going to say I would have checked the credentials from that channel on.
Who, Steve Wraith?
Yeah, you saying it was exposure?
It was him. It was him.
I don't. All I'm
It's
going to say is I've spoken to him and I've met him personally, and to be honest, I don't know if he's ever played a game or whatever, but he's never played it with me. That's all I can say. I can only speak as I find. I
don't think he doesn't play games. He hasn't got the intelligence to play a game. Let's put it that way.
I think he's totally trying to turn his back in crime, and he's trying his best.
Oh, sure he has. Sure he has. That's about as genuine as.
Well, I'd imagine he could have had all the sports cars of the day if he'd wanted them right now, and he's not got them. So that's only something. I can only speak as I find, and I think he's trying. People might disagree with me, and they'll like that, but that's where I'm with him.
Yeah. Well, I forbid you to have anything to do with them anymore. That's it. End of. You do not have anything to do with them. But let's talk about who can we talk about? Come on, it's nice this when we start.
Well, talk about PP. PP's in the chat. PP's a good person to speak about because for the first year on YouTube, I did not like the man at all. I hated him. I hated the way he spoke. I hated the way he combed his hair. I hated the way he stuck up for Paul Greenock fighting trolls. And he's probably one of the guys that going best with at the mall now. I speak to him now every other day.
Well, it can happen. That's it. 1 minute you dislike someone there. And
PD, I hated PD for 2 years. I hated the guy. I still have fought with him, but
I was annoyed with him. Do you know what? He came on my live twice, and I thought, oh, isn't he nice? He held back the cursing because I don't like cursing, and he held it right back, John. And I thought that's such a gentleman to do that. For my show to be so funny. Then I see a clip of you talking to him, and he's giving out about.
But that was before you made up with him, man. I know who sent you that clip.
No, it was that.
That was before you made up with him. I'll side up with him when I need to side up with him. Right now, I'm not talking to him, but that was before you made up with him.
Oh, was it?
I
Because
can guarantee you that, yes.
but that just
And I
to make
know
clear, let me make it clear: the person who
Hmm?
made that video didn't send it to me or make me aware of it. I just came across it. That's
That was
all
an
I
old
did.
video one. Trust me.
Yeah,
That was me and him had a lot to say. He'd more to say than I did, but that was before you made up with him. I'll side up with him when I need to. He's not talking to me right now. In fact, we had a. He said, "I heard you're talking to." I said, "Don't you effing accuse me in a video call one night. I talking behind your back. If I'm getting to see you, bloody say it to your face." And he never spoke to me for about a couple of weeks now. And I sent him a message. He's still in the huff.
yeah.
Like I did with you. Yeah, but at the end of the day, no, he's no said a bad word since you and him crossed drew a line in the sand. He's never said a bad word about you ever.
Well, it was funny because I didn't know who he was, right? I thought it was this, and suddenly I was doing a live, and I remember I was talking about Paddy Conroy, and I'll just mention Paddy Conroy in a minute. But and doing this live, and suddenly I'm getting PD. Oh, this is embarrassing. PD, we're here for PD, and I'd never had so many viewers on me live, and I thought, what's going on here? And for some reason, PD changed into PC, and I thought Paddy Conroy, sorry, it's Paddy Conroy's fault. And God, I was getting ready to block a load and say, yeah, you're not going to come on here trolling me. And then someone managed to get in before it started doing it, saying, oh, wait, and then put the House of Pain. But I was like, I was paranoid. I thought, oh, I've got Paddy Conroy's trolls on here. But let's have a quick way.
But Paddy Conroy's trolls are the police. Yeah, let's not confuse that with Pleasant. The man's a super.
Let's talk a little bit about Paddy Conroy.
Paddy Conroy's a super grass.
But let's just put it this way, right? I know he's a character, isn't he? Let's put it that way to put it nicely. He's definitely a character, but
It's a copper's pencil.
well, do you know what? He'll be going mad if he's watching this. But I don't know. I mean, I can't work it out with Paddy Conroy. I can't, because I'd love to have him on and say, come on, Paddy, say what you want to say, blah, 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 blah. Let's hear it. I know, like I'm doing with you now, having a debate and putting things out that there's question marks over. But I'm terrified to have him on because of his mouth. Because he can't control that case, and he does. Where I'd love to have him on.
You're not as angry as I am. I thought for 30 years he run half of Newcastle. I thought he was an old school villain. He's turned out to be nothing but a police informer, and I have no doubt that he is on the police payroll. I have no doubt. I'd put my life on that. And
But what makes you think that?
Because at the end of the day, he's the Dave.
Oh, you've gone off, John.
Might have a lot of mental health problems, but the drugs make David Glover on is only slows down your speech. Yeah, it's like giving somebody a lot of alcohol, but the brain's still clicking. I believe David Glover, when he signed on that line, Paddy Conroy was the man in charge of that operation. I don't believe for 1 minute that David Glover was left in charge of jumping in a police taxi, which was a van. Right, I don't believe for 1 minute he was left in charge of an operation for them to get left in a caravan in Whitley Bay for Paddy Conroy to jump on a boat to do the biggest shipment of cannabis the UK had ever seen. I don't believe for 1 minute that David Glover was the head of that operation. Don't believe.
I've just had exposing wrong guns, I said, which is it's just, I think, interesting for me to make a quick comment on, John. I'm undecided. I don't get the cookie flossy version of events, and Paddy's are a little far-fetched. Somewhere in the middle lies truth. Now, I'm going to state here, because people have been on my comments now and again saying things about, oh, Paddy's telling the truth and all this business, and saying what Cookie has done. I don't know the truth about it. And I'm going to say now, that's why I won't go hammering or slagging off Paddy about it. I don't know, and I won't discuss it until there's a trial. I've been told one version the day the police got involved. I don't know whether that's the true version or not, and I say that's not my business. It's not my business to know. I'm going in to see. I'm actually going in to see Cookie to see how he is, but I won't even be mentioning or asking what happened that day because it's not my business to know what happened that day. Because what am I supposed to do about it if it happens that something was done? But my advice is don't listen to what Paddy's saying, don't listen to what Cookie's saying, don't listen to sorry, Flossie, don't listen to what anyone's saying until there's a trial. If there's going to be a court trial, at the end of the day, just take that. I don't know why my phone's going off every 5 seconds. Just take that as the way it is. But I won't talk about it. So that's all I wanted to say, John. So carry on.
Well, the Paddy Conroy thing. I was a fan of Paddy Conroy's for over 20 years, and when he disappeared off the documentary, when I first came across Steve Rafe, I thought he was a slink. I thought he was an a-hole and all the rest of it. I was wanting to dislike Steve Rafe. However, it turns out that's far from it now. It turns out it's very much the opposite, because I'd fell down the road of, that mentality of, kick in, and miscall everybody. And you just need to see the way, like Video Craig or not, right? Doesn't matter. All you have to see is the way Paddy Conroy is treated Video Craig's girl this week. Now that girl tries to stay mutual with every single person, even Deka.
Nice.
Yeah, you can look, and he's went and started calling her Miss Piggy, the pot-bellied pig, and all the rest.
It's disgusting. It is. It's disgusting because she hasn't done it, and she's a lovely woman, actually, as you say. She does stay impartial. She doesn't get involved in what Craig's
I strongly believe that Paddy Conroy is going to destroy Anna Conley's life next, because I've got over the knuckles for reiterating something Paddy Conroy said, that Keith Felton, in charge of the murder investigation against Viv Graham, Detective Chief Inspector Keith Felton, moved in on Anna Conley. That's the words of Paddy Conroy. Now, me, with a village mentality, thought when you're moving in on somebody, you're moving in on somebody, as in read between the lines. It turns out he was meaning they moved in with Anna Conley. The CID, the Detective Chief Inspector Keith Felton, by Paddy Conroy's word, said that lady, that they moved in with her after the murder of Viv Graham.
All that I'll turn and say, because I don't know anything about Anna Conley, all that I know is Viv Graham. I hardly know anything about Viv Graham, only that he was a bad boy, wasn't he? Or he was getting up to crime, stuff like that. All that I'm going to say on the matter is, right, if a woman wants to go getting involved with a man that's into that kind of lifestyle and is doing, and imagine he was well into it when she met him, well, I'm sorry, don't go bleating if it's suddenly something nasty happens, because nasty things happen in those worlds. It's like the Mafia. This is what I say, and I've got an Italian background, right, in my family. The Mafia, they say if you marry into us, you just have to accept that nasty things are going to happen. Horrible things are going to happen in that way. Now, that sounds harsh, but I think sometimes you've got to say, right, choose your partners better, because you're walking into trouble, or you're walking into a high, you're increasing the stakes that something nasty is going to happen. Do you understand what I'm saying there, John? It sounds harsh, but
yeah,
that's the code of the
again, I'm reiterating words. I mean, if anybody wants to see how Paddy Conroy felt about Viv Graham, and I never say this, but go and watch Paddy Conroy and Deka Heggie podcast and see how Paddy Conroy felt about Viv Graham. People need to be asking the questions. Why, on the night that the news came in that Viv Graham had been shot dead, was Paddy the first to jump up and celebrate in a pub? And that came from both sides of the field. Then you've got Bill. There's questions there that David Glover wants to ask Paddy in a lie detector test. One question: did you, in part of £1 million trial, say to David Glover, pin the murder of Viv Graham and Michael Sayers? That's one question for the lie detector test, yes or no. Second question: did you in any way, shape or form interfere with the gun that murdered your brother? And then the third question was, have you ever made a deal with Northumbria Constabulary to grass? And I'm saying that for everything, signing on the dotted line.
But
and
anyway,
signing your life away.
like a mock, Paddy Conroy accounts on it. It's not him. And saying, leave Anna Connolly alone. She's had enough heartache to do with it without you bringing stuff up. That's nothing to do with you. But the thing is, right, she's bringing things up. She's bringing it up herself.
Paddy
And
Conroy's manipulating her.
I can understand why she's bringing it up. But look, you go into it, you want to start dating a bad boy, right? I used to say to the young girls when they come into the police station and they'd been having a fight with the boy, he wouldn't leave them alone, and I'd start talking to them and they'd open up to me. And I'd explain to them and say, look, you were attracted to him because he was a bad boy and he had a reputation and you felt that you were safe and all this. The very thing that attracted you to him is the very thing that's going to end up hating you in the end, because either he's going to be taken away from you or he's going to do something to you. And that's what I used to say. So it's no point saying that people can't talk about it, because Anna's put it out there herself. She's talking about it. Now, whether you're saying
everybody forgets that Paddy Conroy's not this little angel sitting in a shed, in a potting shed, talking rubbish. Bearing in mind, the man we called the tax man, yeah? And it's alleged that man in the potting shed was the man who arranged to attempt murder. The man getting hammers in his head and he managed to stay on his feet. Don't confuse it with Pleasant.
But let's just, this Paddy Conroy account's come on again. If Anna wants to talk about it, then say business has got nothing to... No, I'm sorry, she's put it out there. You go out and start talking. You can't then turn around and say, oh, but no one can ever have an opinion. My opinion is this, and I'll stand by it. Right? You marry into that, and it's the same code in the Mafia. And I'm not comparing Viv to the Mafia because, as I say, it's an absolute... It's what you call gangsters in the UK compared to what you have in Italy and America, miles apart. Anyway, I'd just say that what you call gangsters here are criminal thugs. That's what they are. But you marry into that lifestyle, guess what? Things are going to happen. I'm sure Paddy Conroy has had things happening. I'm sure his wife has had things happening. But if Anna's going to go out talking about it, which she is talking about it, people have got the right to respond. No, I'm not dissing her. I'm not saying she's a bad person. I'm not saying anything about the woman. I don't know her. But what I'm saying is you can't then say, oh, can't talk about it. But if Paddy has said something like that, Humber's got the right to mention it on the basis that it shows Paddy Conroy to be hypocritical. Do you see what I'm saying? So if I knew that, if I thought, wait a minute, he said that about it or about him, I'd be pointing it out and saying, well, this, because I point out when people are being hypocrites. I do it all the time. I've just done it about most of the sports going on that him and his wife are hypocrites trying to make out that they're, protecting children and they're going on about mental health and all this. Total hypocrisy. But they can't complain because they're putting it out there. And if I feel that there's hypocrisy going on, I'll say it. And that's what John is doing. He's turning around and saying, well, there's hypocrisy here. Am I right in saying that, John?
Paddy Conroy has got a massive following there, right? But what you need to remember is, it's not until you go out onto the streets, which I did, right? Forget the movie, forget all the rest of. We're talking about somebody I supported, was a fan of for over 20 years. Who I thought the other guy was a slink, and then when you're met with that wall, wait a minute, that guy's genuine. I'm talking about Steve Rafier. The guy's been nothing but genuine. He's not a criminal. He's not a gangster. He's a true crime author. Yeah, and that's it. He's nothing slinky about him. He's a true crime author. And as soon as you break that code, if somebody tells you something, right, and you're not prepared to take that to the grave with you, nobody's got to ask you to do a book again. You've got to become somebody for Blue Peter. You've got to be writing children's books or something, because nobody's ever got to trust you again.
Well,
do I believe Steve Rafe knows anything that he doesn't? No, I don't. I really don't. because I don't think anybody, i.e. gangsters, would put that onus on him to hold. I don't believe it. I don't believe Steve Ray. What I do believe in Steve Rafe is he's not a grass. Now, whether Paddy Conroy's guilty or something or no, Steve Rafe will still not grass. Neither will any of the sayers. Read between the lines
Well,
of it.
I'm just, I am annoyed with Steve Wright, you know. Very annoyed. I am.
You get annoyed
Because
with everybody on.
I'm sorry, right? I've got to say this, humble people. I'm going to tell you what Steve Wright is radio right now. I was offered the part of, you know, how can I put it? A lady of loose morals in his film that he's doing, you know, about the Sayers. And I was supposed to be Stephen Sayers' love interest on the side in the film. And what goes and happens, Bleeding Video Craig comes along, puts on a blonde wig, and he gets the part. So I'm just having nothing to do with Bleeding Steve Wright from now on. That was I was already, I'm a better slut.
So
I'm
you're
a better
trying to tell
slut
me
of Video
that
Craig.
slut Video Craig stole your part.
He stole my part, just put
Right,
a blonde
that's
wig
it.
on,
Video
and
Craig,
that was
you're
it.
you're an anchor, right? No, you're an anchor for a boat. I'm not speaking
Well,
to you ever again.
Never speaking, because I'm telling you now,
That's
the
it.
only reason,
Chrissy's still brand new. Video Craig's a creepy Craig. He's now creepy Craig.
He's gone
Right?
creepy Craig. The only reason he got it as well above me was because, well, I won't say. Let's put it this way: that cast and couch came in useful in the audition room. That's all I'm going to say. But that's my.
Was he better? He was better with eye makeup, wasn't he? Admit
Oh
it.
God, yeah.
Donna's got to be really angry here because she thought there's nobody better with it than you. To hear creepy Craig.
Oh, do you know what I
mad.
forgot? Someone was asking me, oh, wait, Kelsey, you were asking me about who the picture is on me, Abby. That is me when I was in the Faith Tones. There's a group called the Faith Tones, right? We were a Christian group years ago, and we used to go around singing.
You were a Christian?
Oh, I was in the Faith Tones.
Jesus Christ, I'm here to learn everything tonight.
My famous song, that's me in the Faith Tones. And you see me wearing those glasses. You'll see
now you're
pictures of me.
You're going to turn around and tell me you're in the lodge such and such.
I'm telling you,
that's life.
I was in the Faith Tones, go into the Faith Tones. That was me, and we had a big hit in America with Jesus Used Me. And that's where that's from. So that's me, Kelsey, on there. And you've seen me with my glasses when I do my Auntie-Anne telling people off. I used to put those glasses on. So you know someone famous now. Someone famous.
You know it's got to be a conspiracy tonight, guys, don't you? Anne's a Mason.
Oh, I know.
And
I've had that said about me before. I used to have all sorts that they were convinced that it was something high.
She's in the vicious circle.
Well, did you hear me on the Thinker on Sean Atwood and the rumours that used to go around about me and the police? Oh, he's this, he's been sent here and all this. And I was in some fraternity and they'd sent me in to find people out. Oh, it was madness.
Were you the lady that got stuck in the cupboard and they became the women's mason, the only one?
Oh, that one. I can't remember her name. Oh, who was she? I'll get her name now. That was funny, that, for people who don't know. She was the first female Freemason, but what
That's
she did.
Right. Did she not start listing stuff?
I'll just see what's the first female Freemason, first one in cupboard. Let's see if I can. But what she did was so fun. She hid in the cupboard because they wouldn't let women in. And so she hid.
Don't say her surname started with T.
Hey, what? She's going to be. Where is she? Is this here? Wait a minute. Let's see. Women Freemason. I can't find it now, but. This woman, right, it was so funny. Get this for a brave woman. She wanted to become a Freemason. They wouldn't let her. So what she did, I think it was so bizarre, she pretended to be a cleaner or something, cleaning the room, and she hid in the cupboard. And she thought, I'm going to be a bleeding Freemason, whether they want women in it or not. She watched them doing all the things that they do, the whatever they do, the rituals and all this business. And then she jumped out. They must have nearly had a heart attack when they saw this woman suddenly jumping out. She went, got you. She said, now you'll have to make me a Freemason or I'll tell everyone what I've just seen. So that's how you have women in the Freemasons now, because of her hiding in the cupboard.
Now you know. So that's why Anne got a wee soft spot for me.
Oh, but yeah, I used to get all that in the police. They'd be whispering it behind my back. They'd never say to my face, I did it like third hand. And they'd be all, oh, you're possessed. I was even accused at one point of being possessed, believe it or not.
Oh.
Honest to God, possessed at one point.
Did you fall off the goat, Anne?
No, didn't fall off my chair like you do. No, what I did was they said, this is the room that went round, that I had a heart attack in work. And that when it came round, this is what I say about the police, biggest gossip mongers going. And I found out months later that this rumour had gone round, that I'd come around, and when it came around, this big deep voice came out of me and all this spectral stuff and all this rubbish, and that I was possessed and all this. This is because I got a religious group taken down there called Ripper Force. I got it dismissed because it was horrendous. It was.
Are they proper devil worshippers or
No, evangelist Christians. They were. I could go into it. Takes too long, but there's a lot of evangelical Christians in the high ranks of the police, and they're anything but Christian in my mind. The way to carry on. But anyway, I got rid of that. So this rumour went round that I had the heart attack in work when it was at Belvale, and that all these things that happened when they came and found me, and this big voice was coming out of my mouth. I didn't even have the heart attack in work. I was driving home. That's why I don't drive now, because it just got into my driveway when it happened, and I thought if I'd been on the road, I would have got killed, or I would have killed someone else. So didn't even happen in work, but some strange rumours went round about me there.
You see how she avoided the question about phone off the goat, guys, but we'll come back to that some other night, because we don't want to start a conspiracy off tonight. We'll start a wee bit with it.
No, I know. Conspiracies about Anne, the conspiracies. I wish it was so exciting to do. I wish I was so excited.
Could you see you phone off the goat, Anne?
What? What was that, John?
I'm saying I could just see you falling off the goat.
Oh yeah, the goat, the Baphomet. The Baphomet. But anyway, right, let's start. We'll get to the point of what else do you want to mention, John? What else do you want to mention?
I don't know. I think we've kind of covered it all. Police informers to Northumberland. What about the case? This is a thing I'd like to speak about, something that everybody will probably tune out because it's boring, because it consists of a paid police informer who is a convicted child rapist and paid £10,000 by Northumbria Constabulary.
I heard about that.
In 2017, yeah, they had to make it public. Now, if you think a convicted child, by the way, they never used any of the evidence they had gathered. They still paid him 10 grand. He was convicted of child rape, but they still seen it a success because they were after bigger.
Have you gone off again, John? Yeah. Oh, I heard about that one when John's come, because he's saying Mike's going to get bad sounds with.
And I'd like to look into that.
Well, you got cut off, you know that, John. You started talking, then you got cut off. But yeah, I heard about. But I can tell you now, this is what I've said for a long time. You would be horrified. People would be absolutely horrified if they knew what goes on in the police. You know, when they go out and they're doing this, look, why do you think these grooming gangs were never brought to trial? I can tell you now, I can name people in Merseyside that I know were getting children hooked onto. That's why I'm so anti-drugs. I really am, and have no time for people like motorsports going on, that protecting children and all this. Is that they'll get them hooked, not motorsports, I'm saying here, but they got them hooked, on these drugs and all that. Would use them as their playthings, mainly boys, young boys that didn't have a home that they could rely on to protect them. God love them. And then they'd be dumped, and the police cover all that up. Now, that just happen in Liverpool. That happens all over this country.
What I had to learn, there's always going to be, in prisons, right? There's always going to be somebody in the wing that deals with drugs, yeah? And at the end of the day, it depends who's doing the drugs in the wing as to how easy the life of the prison officer will be, right? Now, people will say that's corruption. No, it's not, because if you've got people going into protection every day for a half ounce of tobacco back in the day, yeah, over 20 quid's worth of drugs, which is worth £2 in the street. If you could get somebody in the wing to control that, you're always going to get it, because we know at the top of the tree is the government. And the government, who you don't get these big, large consignments in unless you're pushing big buttons at the top of the tree, right? So there's always going to be drugs. So who's selling the drugs? You have to. Do you put the drugs in a maniac's hand, or do you put it with somebody that's kind of keeping below the radar? There's always got to be drugs. There's been drugs
Yeah,
since.
there is.
Yeah.
But you're talking about something else there. What I'm
When you go into John Wayne and all the rest of the kind heroin and that was getting sold to cowboys, believe it or not. If you want to look back in the history of it, I think.
But what I'm saying to this, that you're going on to a tangent again. We're not talking about that. I mean, people in prison using a bit of herb. Yeah, I'll say they do that to stop them rising and all that. And that's why I say that if someone's put into sectioned under the Mental Health Act and they're using drugs, you best just give them the drugs in there, as long as not ones that are going to make the condition worse. Because can you imagine them suddenly taken away when someone's absolutely at the lowest ebb? It's horrendous. But what I'm talking about is people who deal in it for no other reason than they want a luxurious lifestyle and be getting hundreds of thousands of pounds and going around living this lifestyle, not giving a damn what lives they're destroying, not giving a damn what's happened to anyone else's mental health, and not giving a damn. And this goes on, and I've had this out with Sean Atwood as well, that part of that money will be going to the big guys in the arena, who will be getting past that money and using it, and we know it is the cartels using it to produce disturbing material involving children, also having those children put out for work, sex work, and doing it to women as well, which is human slavery. That's what it is.
Well, there's two ways you can look at that, and so if you cut back in the drugs, right, the same amount of equity needs to come in. So if you cut back in the drugs and the shipment of drugs coming into this country, they up the human trafficking, the prostitution. That has to go up, yeah, because there's a certain balance has to be kept. So if you cut down drugs, the human trafficking has to get upped. It's all about money, yeah. Money is a good.
But the thing is, that's like saying,
what do you put first? Do you put human trafficking and prostitution, child prostitution,
what you're saying,
racket, or do you put drugs? That's it. It's one of them ones.
Let's just put it this way, right? The scenario you're saying is, are you going to turn round? You've got a group of children and a group of women in a room, and you say, here we are, you go and get violated. You go and get violated, because if you get violated, they won't.
What I'm saying is, if you stop that consignment of drugs coming into the country, then there's equity down, and then that group of women that you're just talking about maybe wouldn't go to get violated, because if you want to look at a flow chart and how money works, and at the end of the day, if you stop that consignment coming in, then because at the end of the day, it's only stepping stones.
But you can't say that, John. Well, you can say it, but the logic
where
of
drug
it
enforcement agency will put lives and girls and women and children before drugs.
But what you're saying, John, is
John,
what is right? When you say what is, it could be worse if we don't allow that to happen. This is all what happened.
We'll get a third world country, basically. Yeah.
This is what I said. No, I wasn't going to say that. And when you jump in, you're trying to predict what I'm saying, and you can't. Right. What I'm saying is, back in this, I say, going back to this VIP in Parliament, when that jumped, I said at the time, this is totally getting away from the thing that it's happening to ordinary children in every city, and the councillors and lawyers and MPs and police doing it with these children, and you're just focusing on Parliament, which is a big distraction. And I remember saying, I said, what would you say if an adult came up to you? This is what was happening. An adult, they were talking about things that happened 40, 50 years ago. We must get justice. Yeah, you must get justice for what happened then. But I said, it's happening now. And I used to say, and some of these claim to be survivors of abuse, right, themselves. I said, an 8-year-old child comes up to you, pulls your coat and says, I'm being abused now. I said, you're going to turn around to that child and say, oh, you can go away and wait. We're going to deal with this, gentleman. And you know, people were saying, and I was disgusted with them. And that's why I'm not all starry-eyed about survivors now. I tell you now what they turned around and said, oh, we can get round to them eventually. That was disgusting. Now, just because something's happening to lessen it, you don't continue, you don't make sacrifices of other people. So you can't say, oh, well, it'd be worse if they didn't allow it. You say, no, this has to stop. But what I'm against, as I say, is people who are so two-faced now that they're going round claiming that they're pedo hunters and all this business. And it's like, you're the one that was living in your life of luxury before you got caught by the cops. And you were helping fund those industries, whether you like it or not. And sure now it was as well with real pigs, Ronan. But part of that money was got Mexico. You can't talk about the Mexican cartels. My God, don't even start talking about that. They make other cartels look absolutely like a, what is it, Tweety pie?
Let's face it, the war against drugs has never worked, right? There are millions of pounds worth of advertisements done in Scotland. Just Say No was a big failure.
Yeah.
With the Scottish government, Alex Salmond, and a lady's house called Maxie Richards from the Maxie Richards Foundation in Glasgow. Now, he promised funding for the magic box, they called it. It was something that started your neural pathways in your brain. You could detox from 80 milligrams of methadone within 7 days. It would start your neural pathways. It would start off as your body's own natural painkiller. It was all a load of rubbish, yeah. He just wanted to get the wee picture with her to get the vote. It was all a load. But they went out there and wasted £1 million worth of Just Say No in Scotland to drugs.
Oh, it's rubbish the way to go on. But I'll say one thing. You're the first person that's got this right. You just turned around and said the war against drugs, didn't you?
No, what? Never what?
No, but you said the war against drugs, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's right. Congratulations, because shall I tell you now that I used to have this conversation now and again. They always put it, and this is the police forces do this, and the Home Office, war on drugs. Just let me point out to me, I'm sure that was just that, war on drugs. That doesn't make any grammatical sense, war on drugs. What you're talking about is war on, you're standing on drugs having a war. It's what you got it right, John. Grammatically, you got it right. It's war against.
Yeah, but I've got plenty of experience in that department, and
oh, tell me more.
I've had to sit down there with somebody that's read out a book for 3 years, and I'm sitting there with a 12-year drug addiction at the time. I have to take information from that person. I went through doctors, I went through counsellors, like you had no idea, because I was educating them. I was like, what are you doing here? You can't, I'm teaching you, go away. I had no patience for them, but then I realised that everybody had to learn. No, everybody learned it the hard way, and I kind of wound my neck in 10 doctors later. But now they asked me last year if I wanted to go a mentor. No, I don't want to go a mentor, because at the end of the day, I think the people that's in the job need to learn more, and that's not for me to come up through the hard way, to come in and sit in a group meeting and argue with someone because the funding's not available for a new drug in the market. That's not for me.
So another question: when is this thing on with Joe Kidd? Your interview with Joe Kidd?
Right. So Joe Kidd's got my Scottish acro now. I sent it to him. I emailed it to him maybe about 7 days ago, actually 8 days ago, maybe. Well, I have got a 138-page evidence pack that was sent. We're going to say it was sent by accident, but tough. We've got it now. The only problem we've got, there's people from Liverpool sitting in trial on remand, and at the end of the day, things that Donna was getting pointed for, this proves beyond a doubt who was making the calls to the police. And at the end of the day, we don't want to be putting anybody's life in danger, even though I hate and detest the person right now. But we need to think that one through, because there's a child involved. He's not my dad, and he's not Donna's partner anymore, but there's a child involved here, and I need to bear that in mind every time I mention his name.
So you're looking forward to your interview with Joe Kidd?
Yeah, I'm on, because it's only got to be a one thing, and then because the money that was we were accused of pushing out there was never pushed out. We've never paid anybody to do our own dirty work. I'm quite handy to get my own hands dirty.
You don't pay people because
No.
I mean,
I know I don't. I'm a tight bugger.
let's just put it this way, right? Enough money for me, and I'll, yeah. And I never get any offers. People think I've got morals when it comes to money, like hell I do. I think, oh, what nice little necklace can I buy this time?
No,
But anyway,
I've always been scared of a paper trail where somebody can get, oh, you paid that person this. I've been very wary of that. So since like November last year, I've put very little out, even to charities.
I've got to ask this, right? You're not going to like this.
No, that's the way.
Come on. What's the true story between this money in the envelope in the drawer? Come on. Don't tell me that it was
the money in the money in the envelope in the drawer. I got a £50,000 bounce back loan. In fact, I applied for two, but I got one, and I think there was about 30 odd grand left in that, 32 grand or something left in that drawer. There you go. It's simple. Because I was in a 40% tax bracket for years, so I was paying like 18s, 40s tax bills per year, 18,000 and 44s, and I was in a 40% tax bracket, which was, at the end of the day, I needed to get that because I'd started from scratch again. So I needed 3 years books. I was making a lot of money. I was good because I was surrounded with good people making a lot of money. I was at sea. We were doing something that using salt to catch razor clams, but people allegedly said we were using electric.
I used to love that.
Yeah.
Razor clams. Did you used to fish for razor clams?
That's where I made my money on, yeah.
Oh, do you know what? When I used to eat fish, I don't eat it anymore, I don't eat meat. But when I used to, God, I adored razor clams. Most beautiful.
Well, I can never get them right. I like scallops, but I can never. I always seem to overcook the razor clams.
Oh, razor clams to me are delicious. And
right now in Scotland, there's 26 or 28 boats got jurisdiction or to fish for razor clams legally using electricity. We're part of a scientific trial for the Scottish Government, and it's to show sustainable fishing using something that's good for the seabed and other sea life. We're no killing, we're no wrecking the seabeds, we're no destroying this. The job's got harder through health and safety executive. However, I still earn a good amount of money every year with doing nothing. But that's down to me taking chances a few years ago and being surrounded with people who's loyal.
Oh, do you know what?
Yeah.
I just want to ask you something about the razor clams, right? Am I right in thinking, because I used to notice this, and you actually see it on YouTube if you go into these mukbang videos where they're eating these Oriental eating stuff and Asians. Huge in the Orient and Asia, aren't they, razor clams? You don't see them so much here, where they are delicious.
Our razor clams will be, if we catch the razor clams today, they'll be in China this time tomorrow night. Yeah.
Lucky China, because I wouldn't advise anyone to eat miso fish because I don't eat meat and fish anymore. But
Chinese love them. Chinese, Hong Kong, they love them. Absolutely love them. It's a delicacy. They love them.
They're just, I can just taste them now. It's like, oh, you bite into them, they'd be like that lovely.
There's only 28 boats in the full of Scotland got legal to do that. Now, at the end of the day, the Scottish Government allegedly wasted millions of pounds worth trying to stop a technique that was good. Yeah, it was only classed it illegal because the European government said that electric fishing was illegal. But what they didn't put, they put electric fish where you're just killing everything. They didn't actually put it into brackets that was all right, but that wasn't. So when in 2019 the Scottish government didn't apply to the European government, they told the European government that they were doing a scientific razor trial, basically razor clam trial using electricity, and that's where at the end of the day it's sustainable, it's no damaging, and it's bringing up a really good income to Scotland itself, as well as employing a lot. But it also done away with a lot of jobs. When it went legal, there was probably hundreds of jobs lost, well-paid jobs, but as it is, at the end of the day.
Oh, that's the way it happens, doesn't it?
So we were classed as pirates at one point. In 2018, we were classed as pirates.
Is that
pirates
why you have
of the sea? Yeah, that's where that came from, man. It was pirates of the sea. And my name's attached in there because at the end of the day, if something's right and you know it's right, but people who have not been in the water to see the job done and they say it's wrong, well, you have to argue your point. You have to stand by. And the Scottish Fishery Protection and other, everybody realised what we were doing was good, and they had to come to some agreement to stop wasting taxpayers' money, i.e. millions of pounds a year, try to stop something that was good for the environment, and then they had to call a truce and go, wait a minute, we'll have to pay attention here, and slowly but surely it came good. And I'm living the life of luxury because I took a chance.
It's all right.
A lot of boys.
So your nice house, getting back to your nice house, right? Which is lovely. Look, I'll keep on telling you, I'm poor. I don't have any money. I was a poor dad.
I'll take a rent check and a fly for it. I'm meant to have a rent check and a fly for Donna.
Anyway,
you must be keeping that because I don't see it.
Getting back to, do you know what? I'll bleed ask this at the end of the day. I will ask you. So, has it got ghosts? Because I think that's got ghosts. It looks like it's got ghosts somewhere. Maybe not the house, but that area has got ghosts. There's no way you haven't got ghosts there.
I've never felt any eerie feelings in the house. However, I do walk the dogs around the church every night where I was last night, and it's only like 100 feet for the house, 100 yards maybe, to the inside the church doorway there, where you can ring the bell, but the neighbours will not like you, as I found out when I first moved here. The rope hangs down for the church bell where I was standing making the video last night, and you can ring the bell at any time of the night, but you'll not be liked. It doesn't go down well. The land is owned by the Duke of Wellington, and the Duke of Wellington owns all the land round about us, and every year he comes to leave a wreath for Memorial Day for the British soldiers. The war.
So, no, this church, has it got a spire?
Sorry?
Has the church got a spire? I'm asking this for a reason.
So what do you mean spire? Sorry.
Has it got a spire? You know what a spire is on the church, don't you? You know the big pointy bit that goes up?
Yeah.
It's got one of them. Does that cast a shadow on the houses when the sun comes out?
No.
Are you sure?
I know what you're getting at. I know what you're getting at. No. I'm no comment.
Because I'll tell you why. In China, they tell you, get out the house now, get out the area.
No.
If
but you've got beside that, you've got the man's house, and I actually looked at the man's house because it's a lovely big house and it looks onto the river. However, it's too big, and it probably cost in around $3,000 to $4,000 a year just to heat it with oil. Where this house is about $2,000 a year to heat it with oil because of the price of oil right now.
You'll have to actually let me in sometime when I come up to Scotland.
This is a listed building, and it's a pain in the bloody arse because if you want to change the colour at the front, you have to apply for it for the council and all the rest of it. Yeah,
it is it's a gorgeous house though.
I'll sell you. I'll sell you.
I tell you now, I can't afford anything. I can't. You want to see the house I live in, and this isn't mine. So you know.
Well, see, to be honest, my grandparents died. My gran died in March last year. She left the house to us, and my half sister's moved into it, and she's bought it. And you know, I'm like that. I'm looking at it because it was right across the road from the man's, and it looked onto the hills. And I'm thinking, You know, I bought a house here, like just kind of same setting, but just different. It's an old house, and the walls are a metre thick. Where, but that's what it is. You
But
can-
anyway, so it's a pity that you're not coming up to Liverpool in.
I'm coming to Liverpool, and I'm going to take you for a coffee.
But the thing is, you're coming at the
I'll
wrong
buy you a
time as well.
coffee. Yeah, I don't know about
Yeah.
the £25 coffee. I'll need to talk to Don
You
about
get
that.
me try-
I'm
Oh,
in the
I'll
break
find a
bank.
place in Liverpool. I know a place in Liverpool where you pay 25 for a coffee. But yeah, because because of course, you know, I like to promote.
£25, you're pushing it. I'll
Yeah.
maybe buy you a scone for.
No, you can
They
get
get free coffees and a scone for that price.
We have some very exclusive places in
You get bed and
Liverpool,
breakfast and a breakfast.
Anyway,
up.
just let's put it this way. You could, if you'd come up around about Christmas time, could have gone to see a ballet. You would have had a choice of three.
And listen, you've reached me to the coffee. You're not getting me watching
Right.
ballet.
Ballet
I've got an
is
image to
beautiful.
keep. I've got an
Done
image to keep, right?
You've got to treat Donna.
Come
And
on, you
with-
bought me dressed in a kilt the other night with a wee short skirt.
Yeah,
Donna
you've
thought
got
that
it.
was you.
I'm going to
Half the
finish
time, and
this.
then she realised it was you.
Donna. I'm talking to Donna now. Let her hear me. Donna, you'd like
She's
to
at
see
the
a
other end of the
ballet.
house. She's at the other end of the house.
She'd like to see a ballet. Look, you've got.
She would,
you know,
she would. But she's
in
not going to.
Liverpool,
She's not heard.
shut up, interrupting me. All that I say is that Scotland this year has got cack on. You haven't got any decent ballets on in Scotland, from what I can see. Anyway, what you want to do?
Invaded with English. The English is buying all the hoosies. That's how this one's get 20%
Calm
on
down.
it.
Look, I'll even let you pay, right? Come down, because I don't want you to be embarrassed by me paying. So you pay, and we'll go and see Giselle. Now, once you see Giselle, you'll be smitten. There's a choice of three: Swan Lake, Giselle, or the Nutcracker. Now, go see Giselle, and you can pay £50 a ticket, a bargain. So that would be.
You know what, Anne? I don't trust you because you're getting there. I'd sit in a nice, comfy seat. I'd turn round, and there's Sean Atwood sitting beside.
He will be. He will be. He will be sitting there.
I'd be set right up,
waiting for you. But I'm going to try.
I'd look round Miller's shoulder, and I've got Jamie Foyle sitting. I'd be like, okay, that's where we're going here.
Well, I'm going to say to Sean Atwood now because I've asked him and he hasn't replied to the ras.
No, he's not going to talk to me.
If he wants to come on, and because you remember what we did with Paula, it did work from your side. It worked. Paula messed it up, but you remember how you did come to an agreement initially, and it all looked like it was going to go well and be a peace treaty. I think if Sean did come on here and had a talk with you, and you both came, you know, and spoke to each other, me just being the umpire to stop it going into, you know, getting nowhere. Because I think what it is, you're annoyed at Sean, and I know why you're annoyed at him, and I've been annoyed at him in the past for doing what he does, and that's he promotes people who are known to be dodgy, well dodgy, and you tell him, and he just completely doesn't listen and carries on promoting them. Yeah. And I agree with you 100% on there, because that's how I got on the wrong side of him when he was doing that. Yeah. But I think sometimes you can, what in regard to the Deka Heggie thing, I think there's got to come to this point now.
He could have made a massive difference to us, and he could have helped in a big way.
But I wish he'd come on and talk about it so you could actually, you know, put it to bed for once and all. Because what has happened in the past with him, right? And you're still upset by that, which you can understand. But I'm telling you now, I've said this before about Sean, and I'll say it again. You can get Sean Atwood and bang his head against the wall, and he can see that you're right. He can see you're right multiple times, and he'll still go his own way. I'm sure he's on the spectrum. And I'm not being insulting to say that because I'm on the spectrum myself. I'm sure he is, because he just will not listen to anyone. He just does it his way, and that's it. So but I think you could actually resolve this issue if you actually spoke. But I'll see if he does.
I'll not count any badges right now, Anne. But I was hoping you'd try and get him on tonight, and it never happened. But I know you tried, right? So.
But we'll try again. But anyway, I'll start winding this up now, John, because this has been one of the
I just want to thank you, Anne, because again, we don't always agree. But I'm trying to go over the £25 coffee right now. I just keep focusing on that £25 coffee.
Look, if that
It's
little
breaking me out in a sweat. I feel like I need a bag of heroin or something.
look, let's put it this way. Yes,
You've made me relapse. That's
Yeah.
what's caused it. You've made me
I'm telling
relapse.
you, if motorsports is worth a £25 coffee, so am I. Oh, and don't let me add about
Anne's
the
made
time.
me relapse.
Yeah,
Deka couldn't
you
do it.
realise.
Chris Hartley couldn't do it. My Anne's made me £25 coffee. That's killed me.
And just let me tell you now, people, the next lesson that I'll be giving to Humble Dry is to shut his mouth when people are talking, right?
Good.
And let them have a say instead of jumping in there and making it go everywhere. So anyway, I'll thank you for that, John. And
Thank you, Anne.
and I'll have to come on yours sometime and start getting your followers, because wherever I go,
No, Kenwa, I'll give you the next one as well, because then you can buy me the £25 coffee.
I haven't got any money. I have to keep on telling you because you don't believe me.
We'll earn you. We'll help you.
I'm poor. I've just had to buy a
I'll tell you what,
new
I'll bring
shed.
some of my alleged drug dealing friends and we can take you for a joyride in Liverpool, right?
No, you bleeding won't. Anyway, so I'll say good night to you, John and Donna. Take care now.
Good night.
And everyone in the chat, thank you. And Mrs. Magpie, thank you, darling, for that.
Thank you, lovers, haters, PP, the broest man in YouTube. Speak to you later, guys. Thank you, Anne. Thank you very much. Bye.
See you.